What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This time, I think we're gonna have some great audio. Look at that.
Not if I can help it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
A little fake echo there.
Yeah.
It's great. This is Fourth and Wrong. We are knee deep in the Christmas spirit here on the live stream.
This is
It
awesome.
is December 17th. We are a couple days away from the first playoff game. A lot going on, Chris. We haven't talked since things really exploded there up in Ann Arbor.
Can we start there? First off, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Sports-wise, I think it could be better, but overall, life-wise, well, I mean, not a lot of hope for the Noles on the gridiron. Turns out the old basketball team could be maybe the worst team we've had in my lifetime.
How is that even possible?
It's year one for the new coach. But yeah, things aren't going great there. Falcons are obviously terrible. And Braves, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Braves.
Did I miss that we are declaring war on Venezuela as we speak?
Is that what's going on?
That's what Trump's talking about.
Oh, God.
I want to wait till we're going to talk about Trump at some point during the show.
Oh, God. Okay. Let's talk about Trump.
I do want to talk about his new plaques that he hung up in the White House.
Okay, let's talk about Sherrone more real quick. Speaking of, I don't know, man. What are your thoughts here? First of all, obviously, that story as it unfolded was one of the more insane things. It was like, I was just having a day, going along my day. I see a tweet from Adam Schefter. It's like Sherrone Moore has been fired for cause at Michigan. Now, at first I saw it and I was like, well, fired seems kind of crazy. Like, I know that Michigan fans probably don't like Sherrone Moore that much because they won a championship with Harbaugh. He left and felt like he kind of just got thrown in the mix, and they were not great this year. Well, this is what I'm thinking in my head as things go. And then you see for cause. You're like, oh, for cause. That's interesting. And then the details just slowly start to leak out as the day goes on.
Yeah, for Cosby reasons, for Bill Cosby reasons. That's why. Fucking pervert.
Yeah, something like that. So, anyways, go ahead. So Sherrone Moore out, obviously having a relationship with the staffer. But not only that, unfortunately, got the staffer pregnant. Now, Sherrone Moore does have a wife and 3 children, so
yeah, probably should open up that part.
This becomes a problem when you do things like this.
Yeah.
They did not have a child together, though, Chris. Sherrone thought it was a good idea to make her exterminate that pregnancy.
I'm not going to get into whether that's right or wrong. I'm a firm believer in women having the right to choose over their body. Always. Right. I will also tell you, as somebody that I'm sure, just like most people here, have had to dabble in the opposite of plan A once in their life. Door dashing a plan B? Not your best move, Sherrone. Door dashing a plan B pill? Wow, brother.
A tough look.
How can I leave as much of a paper trail in this as possible?
Another tough look is attempting to pay her off to not say anything about it by giving her a raise using, I always say company, but school funds.
Yeah.
To basically kind of figure out a legitimate way to pay her off for the support. There's just so much going on.
Raise, Tyler. It was a standard raise. It wasn't like it was anything crazy. It was a $55,000 a year job. And she jumped up to 90. That happens sometimes. Also, yeah, let's say hey to people in the chat. Obviously, LOL, it's Henny. We're talking about the Sherrone Moore thing. Shout out Charlie Edwards. Went to prom with this guy. Not together. We had separate dates that were both women. Ooh, okay. Just want to clarify that. And then also Jay Glasgow. It's good to hear from you. Can I go in? Because I have some feelings.
So that was all that.
Yeah.
That all happened over the last year. Now you got all these college football people coming out saying, "Well, yeah, we had all heard that this was going on, and because we're journalists, we didn't really have the truth, so we couldn't report it, but we knew this was going on." So then it comes out shortly after Michigan loses to Ohio State, by the way, and then it comes out that he has taken this news quite negatively. Chris, you go ahead.
This was the wildest part that no one talked about.
What, that he tried to kill himself and then kill her?
No, that part was cool. That's a power move right there, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
You make it everyone else's problem, Sherrone. Good for you. No, the part where he was like, they told him a month ago, like, hey, we're going to investigate this. And if this is bad, like, you're going to be fired. And then he started being like openly insubordinate, because the idea was that the murmurs and rumors that were coming around from Ann Arbor was that he was just being insubordinate. And there was like, he was like openly frustrated with the administration, and no one could figure out why. And so then you start hearing the stories that were like, well, he never felt like he had a fair shake because he was black. He felt like they were out to get him for a number of reasons. And I'm not going to speak on any of that because I don't know the ins and outs of what he felt about that. I do know the ins and outs of him going in and out of a staffer. And that part, I think, is very fireable, a very fireable offense. I think the frustrating part for me is from just somebody covering college football, right? And the frustrating part for me is this is a guy who has been, he's not only been like the face of the program in the midst of all their turmoil, he's been like their safety blanket when they were going through all their shit with Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh suspended for 3 games. Who deserves to be coach? Sherrone Moore. Nobody understands more what it means to be a Michigan man than Sherrone Moore. And it's like all this stuff that you've heard over and over. And where I really get like incensed, and that's probably the best word to use for it with all this, is there are few programs in the country that look down their nose at the rest of the fucking country more so than Michigan. Like, there are a few programs that have a bigger ego in the country academically and athletically than Michigan. And I said this a bunch when they won the national title a couple of years ago, which is, hey man, it's awesome you guys won the national title. Before that, you were living off a fucking carcass of a program where you had a half a national title since 1948. And then you want to talk about how you're a blue blood because you have so many wins and all this other stuff. I mean, but before the last several years, go back 5 years, this would not have been a story. It would have been a joke, because he's not somebody. It's not a program that is. Shut the fuck up, Eddie. We're not talking about previews at all tonight. It's just an hour of Sherrone Moore sex talk. This was a good point that Charlie Edwards brings up.
Yeah, the OnlyFans models.
Now, I'm not gonna hate on part of that. Because for $8, those people will do anything. Now, if you want to support the war in Ukraine by funding that type of person, I get it, Sherrone. I get, good for you, brother. Good for you. Helping girls make dreams out of their lives. But doing it at halftime, doing it the moment you get out of jail, like that was the scariest part for me, which was, there are times in your life where if you're going through a lot of stuff, you need to hit a rock bottom. It's very clear that he was not going to hit a rock bottom.
Not until he got caught. I mean, this is a man that was, you could tell from when he was filling in for Harbaugh when he was suspended, and he's got that crazy interview. You remember that when he's like,
he's crying,
really breaking down. Like, this man is not, the mental, there's a lot going on there. And I know he played at Michigan, and maybe there's some CTE stuff going on there, but clearly not a very stable man mentally. A couple
or emotionally, as we also learned.
Yeah.
And there's parts of this story that are very much not funny, and it's kind of our job to like make light of situations and not take everything too seriously, and like have the show be somewhat of an escape for some stuff. Now, not the same type of escape that you would have if you were hitting up an OnlyFans model to get away from your wife and kids, but a different kind of escape, a more humorous escape with. There's one guy that's supporting Sherrone more still. It's that guy. But no, I think you're right. I think the other part that's so sad is he had a wife with 3 kids. He went over to that girl's house. I mean, like he fucked up. Like, and we all fuck up at times. Like we've all been at we've all done stuff that we immediately regret.
Yeah.
This went on
the
for
next step is usually not like murder or suicide.
Usually no. usually that's not even top 5 for most people. But for him it was, and brother,
top 1, top 2, and it ain't 2.
Top 2 and it ain't 2. Here's the other thing too. From an efficiency standpoint, no wonder this team struggled so much under him. Butter knives? How long do you want the process to be? Like, I want you to think about that. Like, if he would have carried out with that, it would have been no. I'm serious. I'm serious. You know, just like the bottom deck of the Titanic, violins playing as the ship's going down. Just, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Hold on. This must be your problem too. Like, what? I don't think he had the thickest skin based off of everything that I've seen him in past interviews and stuff, like you brought up. But also, like, I mean, my God, dude, it was so bad. But going back to the program as a whole, it couldn't happen to a bigger group of assholes. It just could not happen outside of the SEC. It could not happen to a bigger group of assholes, because I think even in the SEC, everyone down here at least somewhat realizes, like, yeah, I don't know, man, that's pretty tough to have to pull for one of these programs from a morality standpoint or an academic standpoint. And Michigan's a great school, but them having great academics has allowed them to sit here and, like I said, look down their nose at people and think about how much better they are than the rest of the country. And I've said this forever, Tyler. The state of Michigan as a whole is just Alabama up north. It's if Alabama was shaped like a fucking mitten, it's the same place. It's equally white trash. It's equally racist and redneck. And everyone there, like I wouldn't say everyone, like a solid 17 to 23% of the population in each state looks like fucking Bob Seger. Not by choice.
Yeah, and you can look that up, ChatGPT.
Eddie, pull up a picture of Bob Seger.
Yeah, immediately.
Eddie, do your fucking job. Pull up the best picture of Bob Seger shirtless if you got it.
I think the best move for Michigan at this point, considering the timeline of how this happened, and I do find it interesting that came right after what? National Signing Day.
That was fucking horseshit.
A lot of people, I think, rightly argue, like, what if Michigan had beat Ohio State and oh yeah, wow, look at Bob Seger there with his shirt off.
That's not give me 80 Seger, please, so it's even better. Working on the night moves.
But anyways, I just think, had they beat Ohio State, made the playoff, does this story ever come out?
That's a really good point, dude.
There he is again.
That kind of looks like you, Tyler.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Like the opposite amount of hair, but for sure. The rest, good.
If you were what's that, woolly guy, or you can draw the hair on. No, I think what you just said is the best point that anyone's made, and that is, if this hadn't have happened, if they didn't come out with this, like if they didn't lose to Ohio State, I don't think anybody would have. You wouldn't have heard about it.
No, they just sort of kept moving along and probably would have got buried, because, I mean, according to pretty much anybody that talks about college football for a living, they're like, yeah, we had heard strong rumors about this whole situation like mid-season. So it wasn't like it just came out like that day.
It happened for a year. They named a pizza after her.
Right.
Did you see the pizza?
I did not.
It was like a fucking cauliflower vegan pizza.
Well, did you see the girl? Kind of makes sense.
So here's what I was going to say about that. I am not going to sit here and yuck anybody's yum and say that she's unattractive. That's horrible to her. And she's having to go through, I'm sure, a ton. even though she's still employed, by the way. So I'm not going to weigh in on her looks at all because I don't have anything to say about that.
It'd be a bad look if they fired her. No.
Oh, it'll get way worse. She might be the next head coach. Just Paige Shivers and her cauliflower pizza. No, but I do think that the thing that's so gross about it is, and this happens, I think, sometimes when there's like cheating involved, which is like the crossover. Like she was following his wife, his wife was following her, and it's like you feel so awful for this poor girl, and like the wife and this girl, but really like the wife especially way more than the girl. But like the amount that this was public is the worst part, where it's like there was a picture of them like crossing the street together, which they could have just been walking towards the library and they were going across separate ways, but there's just no way to prove that at this point, and you've already incriminated yourself so badly that it's hard to give you the benefit of the doubt. I think the grossest part to me is, and this is purely speculation, and I will be assumptive when I say it, and also not feel fucking bad about it, considering what he did and the lengths that he went to do it. It felt like it was way too, I'm getting away with this. Let me see how much I can fucking bring this into the public or around, and nobody fucking knows because I'm smarter than everyone else in the room, which is a very, very real trait of most narcissists that do shit like this.
Yeah, it's a sad story. It's fun to make fun of at first, but then you start to get into details. It's just like, God, I mean, that poor family. But I think at this point, Michigan's best move as a school is just that Biff Poggi guy, whatever his name is, that's on the staff, that's been like there for a while. Just make him the coach for next year. It doesn't make sense to try to scramble and put together a contract for somebody last minute and then probably get into a bad contract that you want to be in if it doesn't work out. So take the next year to do your due diligence. He's the stopgap. I mean, it sucks, but I just don't think you're going to pry DeBoer away from Bama. I mean, do you think that's still a thing or no?
I know before we talk about that, I do want to bring the Biff Poggi thing real quick as Eddie looks for a picture for him. With DeBoer, what, Eddie? I asked you to get a picture of Biff Poggi. Also, that name, if you told me that they named a Biff Poggi after the girl, I would be like, oh, what kind of food is that? That's sick. That sounds pretty cool.
That it does.
If you told me that Sherrone Moore got in trouble for giving a Biff Poggi or receiving a Biff Poggi from said girl, I would have also been like, yeah, that tracks, bro. All that tracks.
I got my Biff Poggi filled with my Mega Ibuka.
I had Mecca Abugad all over my Biff Poggi, and that's when she left. I didn't get a second date after that. And this is why you come to the show. This is why once every 3 weeks we do this shit, and it's fucking great, and I love it forever. No, the thing too, Tyler, is like with DeBoer, I hope it's not true. I will tell you everything that I know from like a. Now before we get into this, here's my other question about the Sherrone Moore part. Can we zoom in on that?
The only way this guy's his name would have to be Biff Poggi. Just looking at him.
I want to play a game. We don't have Kalshi as a sponsor yet, but I want to play a game. If you were to zoom in and just crop this part above where like the cutoff is, like slightly like below his neckline and above his forearm into a rectangle, percentage chances that if you put that picture sent from Paige Shivers to Sherrone Moore, he'd be like, that's fucking hot. I don't think you can put Biff Poggi as a coach because I think Sherrone Moore might try to fuck him.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's where we
cross the line. Kalshi, did you see that Kalshi has filed forms to accept bets on who enters the NCAA transfer portal?
That's the worst thing that's going to happen to college football ever.
It seems like we say that sentence every week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Private equity money.
Let me get back into the DeBoer thing real quick. With DeBoer, this is all what I've been told. I trust my source on it. And then we'll get into the culture things. I think it's very important. Then we'll do the preview and stuff like that. This is also great. I'm so glad we were able to do this. It's good to have Eddie back.
Great that we didn't have
you guys watching in the
no issues with the audio. Okay. Coaching.
Yeah.
Let's go. DeBoer.
So with DeBoer, what I was told before the Auburn game was he has no desire to leave Bama. He has no desire to leave Bama. He also doesn't really have a desire to go into a full off season where he is on the hot seat. And I don't think he's going to be on the hot seat, even if they lose to Oklahoma. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Ty Simpson's going to come back probably. I hope that they can figure that out with Keelan Russell, because I hope that kid is a quarterback of the future. But I don't think that he is going to leave unless he feels like he's on the hot seat. And I don't think Alabama's going to put him on the hot seat at all. Now, getting to the college football playoff in year 2 is a really, really big deal. I think if you ask any Michigan fan, they are under the impression that he is very available and they're going to go after him. I agree with one of those things. They're going to go after him and they're going to spend a lot of money with whoever their next coach is. I think Dillingham is a much better and more viable and realistic option than what they currently are talking about with DeBoer. I don't see why DeBoer would leave. Now there's stuff like Courtney Morgan. Like I wrote about this like last week on LouisianaSports.net, which was like shameless plug. I don't know why he would leave. The one thing I do know about DeBoer is he's never going to leave without all of or as many coaches in tow as possible. And that's a reason why he's, he had like 8 guys come with him from Washington to Bama originally. 6 of those 8 were also guys that had been with him since he was at Fresno State, then Washington, then Bama. So it's a very tight-knit group that he likes his guys and wants to win. One of the biggest and most important parts of that is Courtney Morgan, the GM of Alabama, who's in charge of all these great recruiting classes, and they're killing it in recruiting. I think they're second in the country right now behind USC with a lot less commits than USC. That's a Michigan grad that was a 3-year letterman and 2-year all-conference guy at Michigan. Could it happen? Sure. I don't think it's going to happen. Back to call sheet.
Well, no, we don't have to talk too much about the call sheet. It's just insane to me that when you talk about things that are direct, you could directly affect as a player, and like kind of rig the system in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can enter the transfer portal and take yourself out. So if someone makes a bet and says, "Hey, let's put 10 grand on you hitting the portal, and then we'll split the," I mean, it's just, I don't see why they filed for it. And I think I saw that they expect it to be up and running, making bets by next Wednesday.
I thought it was today.
Or maybe
it makes more sense that it's at end of business or call of business on Wednesday.
My God.
I mean, it's so bad. What? It's so bad, and it's so you want to sit here, Tyler, and say, well, it's so easily manipulated because I think I tweeted this earlier. The only people this is good for are call sheet execs, and then the group of 18 to 22-year-olds in college that are going to be absolutely going around to their frats, going around to their buddies. Dude, so-and-so's in my class. He's not going anywhere. Bank on it. Like all this inside information that they're going to be trying to make enough money to get bar drinks out of. I don't see what the benefit is. I don't see what the benefit is. And in this case, I think that the downside of it is so horribly bad for the sport that it would be very disappointing if they went through with it. But as we've seen over and over again, nothing matters anymore, and they don't care.
No. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this. It'll be interesting. Maybe I'll make some bets. But
who would you bet on? Now I hear an echo.
I hear an echo too.
God damn it.
How about now?
What about now? No, I don't.
Wow, Eddie.
Thanks a lot, Eddie. You sack
Says
of
a lot
shit.
about you. Okay, let's talk about the playoffs here.
Let's talk about one thing real quick too that everyone needs to tune into the Alabama South Florida game, because if Latrell Wrightsell hits one more 3-pointer, we're going to all collectively win $118, and that would be really good for Christmas gifts. Or I'll die. Is that a sneeze? Oh, ew. Why'd you stick your tongue out?
Well,
everyone look at Tyler.
I was trying to sneeze.
What a freak.
I don't know what's going on. All right.
I'll take over from here. I'll host for a second. You go ahead and sneeze, guys. We're at war with Venezuela, but that's not going to stop us from being very excited about the college football playoff. And nothing goes hand in hand like the oil economy in Venezuela, a country that has been bankrupted twice, not once but twice, despite having oil. Fun fact. And I don't know the other part I was going to say. I just wanted to really let you guys know that I knew about Venezuela's economy going bankrupt twice. It might have actually been Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, well, it's tough that you confused the two. It seems like maybe
what if they just branched off?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
went their several ways.
Like which one do you think would be more successful, Trinidad or Tobago?
Tobago. Who knows?
Speaking of Trinidad, what about that Ole Miss game?
Yeah,
fuck up, Eddie. We're talking about real stuff here.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start with the Tulane Ole Miss matchup.
All right, let's get it off here. This JMU. Well, hold on. Let's. We haven't talked about the playoff yet. Thoughts as a whole, big picture. What did you think about the playoff scenario? Let's keep it to 5 minutes, and then we'll get into the playoff preview.
What do you mean the playoff scenario? We already talked about this.
No, we didn't.
Last week?
We didn't have a show last week.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? We technically had two, I guess, because I was echoing. Okay, that's fair.
Let's get into the games.
Well, going into this week, what game are you most excited for? Which one do you think sucks?
I'm most excited for Miami, Texas A&M.
Same.
Because
that's I think friends.
I think that Miami has been getting better as the end of the season. Usually they're kind of opposite, like they get worse as the season goes on.
Yeah.
But ever since they had the little trip up against SMU, which I mean, SMU's top 25-ish team. They went on the road. They lost by 6 points. Not a great loss. It really spoiled any chance they had at the ACC title, which is very funny for me as a Florida State fan that they have been in the league since I think 2003 and they've never won the ACC, the worst conference in America. But I do think that they are very talented. They have an incredible O-line, D-line. Texas A&M didn't end the season great. The last two FBS teams they played, they have South Carolina. They were down huge, and they had to come back. Miracle win at home, 31-30. And then they lost against Texas on the road, only scored 17 points.
Right.
It is a home game, but, man, I like Miami. I just think that's probably the best matchup. JMU, Oregon, I have no interest in. I mean,
that's
JMU doesn't have a coach, or their coach has already decided to leave. Oregon, both their OC and their DC are on the way out. It's just a weird game. I hate the calendar, but I don't want to bitch too much about it. What about you? What do you think is the best matchup? That you already said that. But anything else that catch your eye? I mean, Oklahoma, Bama. I think it's an interesting matchup. No doubt.
The best matchup. I think the best game is going to end up being. Why is there an echo all of a sudden? I think the best matchup is going to end up being A&M Miami.
Yeah.
Eddie, also, just real quick, whatever happened with the echo and then it went away? Let's you have no idea? Okay, cool. Never mind. Okay, I was going to say, let's keep on that. But I'll just kill myself instead. It's fine. With a butter knife. Anyway. No, I think that it's gonna be the best matchup in terms of we've seen it before. It was a really great game earlier with Bama, Oklahoma. I think it's gonna be a really good game again. But I think that game is gonna be so fucking miserable to watch. It's going to be Iowa, Nebraska, whereas A&M Miami, I think is gonna be 34-30. I think A&M is gonna end up pulling it out, but I think, or maybe not. Maybe they'll Sherrone more it and they won't pull out. And Miami wins that game. Boom, bingo, bango, bongo.
Oh man, you know what? That would be an abortion for Texas A&M to lose that game.
I'm glad that we can bring that word back. Is
that not a real word anymore? You can't say that.
Do you remember the show that you were at? This is a true story. Back when I did comedy, I did a show that one person told me this joke would work. One person. It was Jeff Colby. Tyler was in I think you were in the third row. And I was doing this part of the show where I would say one-liners that were all bad. And I go, yeah, a lot of my friends are really anti-abortion, but not me. I'm very, very old school when it comes to abortion stuff. Like, I will only use a wooden coat hanger when it comes to abortion. And when I tell you, no one laughed. No one laughed at that joke.
Not even me.
Not even you. I looked over at you for support, and you were like, yo.
I gave you the old cartoon hook, like it was like pulling your neck.
Yeah, it was great. All right, so what game? I have nothing for JMU Oklahoma or JMU Oregon at all. I have.
I mean,
we can start with Tulane Ole Miss if you want, but the two big ones are what we need to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the Tulane Ole Miss, obviously we've seen the matchup so far. It's a completely different setup now because Lane Kiffin's gone, Pete Golding's in as head coach. You've got some of the staffers that came back for this game. How much effort have they put into this versus like working for LSU? And Tulane, same thing. I mean, their coach has gone to Florida and he's working 2 jobs at one time, 2 jobs one time. You've seen that movie, right?
No. Well, even Eddie's looking at you like
two girls, one cup reference. It was a stretch, but
that is a stretch. Speaking of stretch, Sherrone Moore out as Michigan head coach.
I don't see the Ole Miss. I think they probably win this game. Probably put up close to 40 points on Tulane, and Tulane may throw up 20 to 25 points, and it's just going to be one of those games that's like, okay, that was fun. I don't know if that should be a playoff game.
Eddie just made his own joke and then put up his own joke on the actual chat, which is
so sick, dude.
You know what I'm really glad for? That 2 girls, 1 cup thing was not around for Twitter or Elon's Twitter because it would have been everywhere against my fucking. She drank the poop. Is that what happened? That's gross, dude.
It was everywhere. Just
I feel like shitting on chests is not as in style, in vogue, if you will, anymore. And that is something in Trump's America. Now, going to war with Venezuela, I don't know. I don't know yet to have an assessment. Not having as much shitting on chests, that's something I'm happy about. So let's get back to the football. That's what you came here for. And speaking of came here, Sherrone Moore not on the show tonight, but I do want to say this.
You came here, you came everywhere. Except in the condom.
Oh, Eddie is on a roll. Eddie's on a roll most nights. Eddie was like, I'm not doing the show, but he didn't say he wasn't doing the show because he was at a happy hour.
No, you don't understand Eddie Booza language. He was actually saying that he had the chance to do the happy hour. But knowing him, he would have had too much to drink. So he's going to put it off till tomorrow to do that.
Yeah.
And do the show tonight. And that's why I said, wow, you stepped up for the show. You put the show first. Respect.
Yeah.
You thought he was being disrespectful.
In my very, very typical way of thinking that everyone is always out to get me for no reason, I thought he was just canceling the show. But that's something me and Dr. Rocky will have to work on later. Anyway, if we hit a 3 here, we're going to win $118. Hit it. So
seems like he didn't hit it.
He pump faked and then got rid of the ball, and they gave it to my least favorite player. This fucking idiot. He's got the ball again. And he turned it over. Okay, so here's the thing. The Tulane Ole Miss game, I think, has a potential to be really fun for a number of reasons, mainly because you're talking about an Ole Miss team that is coming off of a very similar situation with Tulane and their coach leaving, but the situation is much different at the same time because Tulane is so happy with their season, even though they lost by 35 earlier in the year to Ole Miss. Their entire existence is like, oh man, like go be great, best of luck, so proud of you. He gave them $100,000 to spend on their next like NIL cycle. I thought that was like really, really awesome.
Cool.
Also just like fuck you money. Like, yeah, y'all listen, like I'm so fucking rich now. Watch this. Yeah. Eddie one time sent me $22 on Apple Pay, and that had the same exact feeling. So I think that when you talk about like going into this game, I think you have a potential for Tulane to come in backs against the wall in terms of it's the same team we've already played. No one believes in us. We're the G5 highest G5 team. Maybe they shouldn't be in the playoff. Maybe they should. Blah blah blah. They can go shock the world. And I think that coaching staff is probably more not invested, but probably more present than the Ole Miss coaching staff. I say all that to also say, in the first meeting, Ole Miss made Jake Retzlaff look so fucking bad that one of the best quarterbacks in the country over the last year plus, he was benched. And we expected Ole Miss to go in there and be great offensively. I did not expect them to have their defense, God damn it, have their defense be able to shut them down so much that they end up benching the quarterback. I also think there's no one in this entire field that is more rationally or irrationally furious with everyone than Ole Miss. And if you gave me the chance to pick, hey, will Tulane upset Ole Miss or will Ole Miss score 70? I would go with Ole Miss scoring 70.
That's fair enough. All right, let's talk Miami, Texas A&M real quick. What is the current line? 3.5 for A&M?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let me get your thoughts on that.
I swear to God, I'm not making that up.
Because to me, like initial thoughts would be to grab that line all day for Miami, plus 3.5.
Okay.
I think obviously Miami's got the better defense between the two. I think Miami's got just as good of an offense as Texas A&M. On the road, I love Elko, like him a lot better than Cristobal as far as in-game coaching. I think Miami's special teams is better than Texas A&M's.
Yeah,
so if I'm going to get 3.5 points, especially with that hook, I love to take it. So I will definitely take Miami plus 3.5. Now, as far as who wins the game, I think that's a little bit more of a toss-up. What are your thoughts? Because you said you think A&M eventually wins.
So walking through this game, I look at it and I think Miami has more to prove. And I think Miami is going to go into this game with their hair on fire, with a really good quarterback and a really good team, a really, really good defensive front seven. And they're going to go into a situation where Carson Beck is usually at his worst in big games, but he's going up against a team that has 3 interceptions all season. That's almost fucking impossible to do, by the way. Let me make sure I'm right on this. But 3 interceptions all season in over the course of 12 games is almost fucking impossible. And that is correct. 3 interceptions. They are -7. You look at the 5 teams from the SEC from a turnover margin standpoint. Bama is best out of all 5 teams at +7. Georgia is at 0. Ole Miss and Oklahoma are at -2 apiece. And then A&M is at -7. That's not a winning brand of football. I think that they can play for and sustain. They're going to be at home, and they are going to be in front of a crowd that's bigger than anything Miami has played in front of in quite some time. And I think the other part of it too is Miami's going to go into this game, I think, throwing every single fucking thing they can at them in the first half. And then Elko's going to go into halftime, and he's going to say some shit that's going to fucking tear the paint off the walls at halftime. And there he goes. Look, Ghost Mike Toscano's in here. Milkman. I think he's going to go into the halftime motivational speech down 7 to 10 points, and he is going to absolutely light a fire under them, and they're going to come out in the second half. And the second half, as little as A&M is in terms of I guess what's the best way to put it? As little tested as they are in comparison to a lot of teams that are in the playoff because they haven't played anybody worth the shit or beaten anybody worth the shit for most of the season. I think they're going to be in a situation in the fourth quarter where they're at home and they're going to look across the sideline and fucking Mario Cristobal, the guy that refused to take a knee against Georgia Tech a season ago, is going to be ahead with a lead in the first round of a playoff game with a chance to go into the next round and play an Ohio State team and have all this in front of them and then sit there and say, what do I fucking do now? And I don't trust him and Carson Beck in that scenario. I think Carson Beck is a great and very talented quarterback. I do not think Carson Beck is going to be able to go on the road in a hostile environment in front of 102,000 people and escape 60 minutes of football without a fucking turnover.
I like where your head's at here. I think we're seeing the board. Do we go Miami lead at halftime, A&M outright
Oh, I love that.
as the bet?
Did he get? Is that my man's not even in the fucking game?
I
I
kinda
like
like
that.
that.
That's usually plus 550. You want me to look it up right now, Tyler?
I would love you to look it up right now. Let's see
I
what
would
we can
love
get
you
on
to,
those
dude.
odds. Right now, my lean is Miami plus 3.5, but I would love to see the odds on that bet.
I'll look it up for you.
Okay. How long do you think?
Is there anything else you like board wise in this game? Because I'm looking at it also. Miami plus 3.5 is plus 115. I'm sorry, minus 115 in favor of Miami.
Mm.
You got a lot of juice on the side of one versus the other in this weekend. Miami plus 3.5 is minus 115 versus minus 105 in favor of A&M. Tulane plus 17.5 is minus 115 versus minus 105 in favor of Ole Miss. And then you have Oregon minus 20.5, which is minus 120 in comparison to even for JMU.
I don't know, dude. I mean, is it possible in that JMU game? I don't like that number though, 20.5. I wish it was 21.5. But I mean, to get those good of odds on them, but no, I'm staying away from those games. I have no idea what they're going to do. I'll probably bet on the Bama Oklahoma game and the Miami Texas A&M game.
I
You
just
give me
put
the
20
odds on what
I
we
put
talked
20
about
down on
before.
our bet.
What's
Plus
that?
750.
Plus 750, Miami leading at halftime, and Texas A&M win outright.
You know what's wild, Tyler, is that usually the home favorite, especially not the favorite, but the home favorite, win the first half and win the full game is minus money. It's plus 110 for A&M.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
All right,
98% of the public money coming from Vegas is on one side of this game. Remember that episode when I did that? And you were like, what does that mean? And I was like, I was really fucking hoping you guys would tell me because I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the extent of my research.
All right, so give me Texas A&M 30, Miami 28.
I like that pick a lot. The over-under in the game is 48.5, so they're saying that's – and the under, the juice is on the under at minus 115. I didn't see that coming. Can I talk you into something?
I just see that being a higher scoring game than that.
Can I talk you into something?
Okay, I'm listening.
Miami plus 13.5. Oregon minus 10.5.
Okay.
The over in Miami and Texas A&M, 38.5.
I mean, I could definitely be talked into that.
That feels like the bet of the week.
All right. Mark me down.
Mark me down. 48.5, Tyler, in comparison to even Bama, Oklahoma. The Bama, Oklahoma over, it's 39.5. Yikes, that's tough.
Yeah. And you're almost tempted to take the under.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to that game real quick because we're coming up to it here with about 15 minutes left. I want you to get your time in here.
Yeah.
How does Bama beat Oklahoma with as good as defense as they have without running the ball? Or do they magically run the ball in this game?
What if they did?
All right.
I don't have an answer for that because I don't think they can. I think when Alabama walks in that door, they grab Oklahoma by the back of the neck and they say, listen, it's not Tuesday, but I'm having tacos tonight. And then you whip them legs apart, just like Sherrone Moore, and say, you better not give me Sherrone less than I want right now. Hey-o. Okay, so here's the deal. I don't think they can win without running the ball, but I will once again preface this by saying them running the football does not need to be running for 200 yards or even 150 yards. It is running for 3.4 yards per carry. That's it. That is it. Now, that's very tough to do against this defense.
Yes.
But if they can do that, I like their chances. That's not the key to the game. The key to the game is one stat and one stat only, Tyler, and that is fucking turnovers. And I've had enough to drink that we're going to get fired up here.
Okay.
You lead the way.
Why would I lead the way of you getting fired up?
Well, I mean, you lead the way and give your prediction, and then I'll go on a
I see, I
3-minute
see.
rant that's really 7 minutes because I'm too drunk to talk.
All right. Well, if the key to the game is penalties, I do see that Oklahoma is 7th in the country.
Did I say penalties? I meant turnovers. Penalties?
Oh,
What am I talking about?
No, you did say turnovers. Sorry.
Okay.
But I will also say penalties. Bama, not great at the penalties.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
They're
Pretty bad at the penalties.
They're one of the fewest penalized teams in the country or in the conference this year.
No, I was kidding. They're not bad. Turnovers, yes, that was obviously the key to the game last time. I think the key to the game this time is obviously is R. Mason Thomas playing in this game?
He is. Alabama is the second fewest penalized team in the SEC this year.
Good.
You dumb bitch.
You like that?
I do like that.
Didn't help him at home against Oklahoma, did it?
Go ahead. Talk your shit.
I think with time to heal up from a tier, home game. Did Oklahoma lose this year at home?
Did they play anybody worth a shit?
Yeah,
Yeah, they lost at home to Ole Miss.
All right. I remember that. That was tough. But they've been on a little bit of a heater here towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Ever since that Ole Miss game, it seems like Oklahoma has gotten it together. They went on the road, they beat Tennessee. They went on the road, they beat Alabama. They beat both Missouri and LSU at home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they haven't scored a lot of points in those games, but Missouri scored 6 against them.
Yep.
Not that impressive that LSU scored 13, considering what the shape of that team was in towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But at home, again, college football playoff game, so the crowd's going to be even more ramped up than normal. I like the time off for Mateer. Bama, on the other hand, has not looked great heading down the stretch here. They did lose to this Oklahoma team at home, 21-23.
They did.
They lost, and then, a little bit of a nail biter against Auburn there on the road, which happens in the Iron Bowl, and then a shellacking against Georgia.
Shellacking.
So my vibe is Oklahoma's going to win this game. It's going to be close. It's going to be low scoring. I think Oklahoma, finds a way to win it in the end.
Yeah.
I'll take 17-14. Oklahoma.
I'm going to ask you for permission for one thing.
Okay.
I've had some drinks. All I've had tonight to eat was soup. I made a soup from scratch, Tyler. It was fucking delicious. Allie's not feeling great. Made her a chicken noodle soup with wild mushrooms.
Nice.
I think all mushrooms are probably wild.
Did you just open up a can of Campbell's and they had the soup, like the mushrooms and the chicken and all that already? Or?
I spent $141 at the store at Albertsons, which is our Kroger.
On soup?
But also every Albertsons here is just the seediest Kroger imaginable, just so you know.
Yeah. No, we had Albertsons in Tallahassee.
I walked in this morning to Kroger or to Albertsons to get a thing of cookies for my coworkers, and there were Christmas cookies, and there was a guy on the phone who was just open just this, which is a staple in this type of demographic. And I'll leave it at that. And he said, she looked at me and she goes, "You ain't shit." And I said, "Bitch, you ain't shit. I'm not the one fucking my first cousin." Thank you. And I was like, fucking, you know what? That's what I needed to hear. I've been on the fence about Alabama. So I'm going to ask you a quick favor here, Tyler.
I don't appreciate you profiling Asians. I don't appreciate you profiling Asians in that way.
Yeah, totally. He said, "Oh, no."
No, stop.
Can I take the fan hat off for a second? The hair is looking.
You just wanted to show that great hairline. Wait, what happened?
Am I out? Okay.
Yeah, no, you're in.
That's what finally canceled me. It wasn't talking about the fucking dogs 4 years ago incessantly. It was this. Oh no. I think Alabama goes to Oklahoma. Hey. Okay, so here's the deal. Can I be a fan for a second? Because I would like to operate from there.
Yes.
All right. Here's what we're gonna do. This little bit. Okay. Now, let me start by saying, okay, Oklahoma's a very good team. Okay, there's an echo now. Oklahoma's a very good team. I think that they are very, very good defensively, and they have the best kicker in the country. In this bracket, if they win, I think they have the best opportunity of going on a run and getting to the national championship more so than Texas Tech and Indiana. I think they will throw things in Indiana that they have not seen all season. I think they will be very, very capable and very strong in all the things that those two teams are not great at, right? They're a very good football team. They've already beat Alabama once. I've heard this over and over from people that say, well, yeah, everyone's talking about how like all these mistakes that Bama made, but no one's talking about how bad Oklahoma played. You know why they're not talking about that, Tyler? Because Oklahoma has played like that for most of the season. Their offense has been shit for most of the season. We came into this year and we love in college football more than anything to have this confirmation bias of saying, hey, this team is going to be really good for a number of reasons. John Mateer put up 4,400 yards in the fucking Pac-2 a season ago. They're going to be really good, and they're going to go win a bunch of games in the SEC because of that guy. And the truth is they won a lot of games this year, but not because of that guy. They won a lot of games this year because the defense is awesome, the special teams is awesome, and they have been able to do enough offensively. When this game came into what do you call it, Tuscaloosa a couple months ago, 1 month ago, I don't know, against Alabama on the road, I said over and over and over again, I was like, listen, Alabama is coming off a bye week and then LSU, and here's the thing I know about Oklahoma. They turn the ball over all the fucking time. And when they do, they usually put themselves in jeopardy because they're not good enough to overcome any of those turnovers offensively. The defense is great, but they're not good enough offensively for 4 quarters to go into Tuscaloosa at the time against a team that had the best turnover margin of any team in the entire fucking conference. What happened in that game, Tyler? Alabama missed a 36-yard field goal. That's pretty standard. But they also had 3 turnovers, 2 of them inside their own 30-yard line. One of those when fucking Ryan Williams was back returning punts for some unknown reason, and they ended up losing the game by 2 points. Alabama doubled them up in yardage. Ty Simpson had like 340 yards passing, and Oklahoma deserved to win that game, and the best team that day won the fucking game. But I have sat here, and I have listened. Don't roll your fucking eyes. Look at me. Look at me.
No.
I have sat here and listened to this entire fucking narrative about how bad Alabama is because they got their ass beat by one of the best teams in the country in a rematch when they had 5 fucking starters out. Do you know who was out against Georgia? Do you know who was out against Auburn? Do you know who's out in all those other games after Oklahoma? Josh Cuevas, tight end. That name may sound familiar to a lot of Oklahoma fans because that guy had 6 catches and 80 yards and a touchdown in the game against Oklahoma. I've heard nonstop about how bad they looked against Auburn. Here's a newsflash for you, the whitest thing I'll say all night. Everyone looked bad against Auburn. They had 7 fucking losses this year, and 6 of the 7 were by 7 points or less. The biggest margin of defeat by Auburn all year was by 10 fucking points. So it brings me back to the point that I've had this feeling for years, which is we talk about Alabama in a much different way than we talk about anyone else in the fucking country. And I've said this over and over. I grew up in Atlanta. I'm a Red Sox fan. I fucking hate the Yankees. I grew up in the 90s watching them beat our ass every single year in Atlanta, and then also in the ALCS. I hate the Yankees, so I fucking get it. If you're tired of watching Bama make the playoff, I'm sure that run is going to come to an end at some point, but it's not right now. You had the best game that you could have fucking played against one of the best defenses in the country, not just the SEC, and you had 0 turnovers for like the 3rd time all season in 12 games. There's no goddamn way that John Mateer goes out there for 60 fucking minutes against Bray Hubbard, Deontay Lawson, and Tim fucking Smith or Tim Keenan and says, I'm not going to turn the ball over once. It won't fucking happen. And I'm fully aware where the volume of my voice is right now. But I'm telling you, I am telling you with the most fucking valid and genuine and objective part of my body. Oklahoma can definitely win this week. There's no fucking chance they can repeat the script that they had against Alabama in Tuscaloosa and expect to win. And the moment all these people around the country decide to start fucking doubting Alabama, Kalen DeBoer's going to Michigan. Kalen DeBoer can't win a big game. Bitch, all he does is win big games. He just lost to Georgia. He also fucking beat their ass in Athens earlier this year. You get 5 starters back. The only guy you don't get back is LT Overton. And here's another newsflash for you. Oklahoma also can't run the fucking football. Go out there, throw it 40 fucking times, go score multiple touchdowns, have your defense, who's been one of the best defenses in the country and held their ass to 212 total fucking yards in the first game, hold them down again, and then do the fucking Queens wave and leave Oklahoma because Brent Venables' Oklahoma is not a world beater. I don't care what he's done the first 2 games against Alabama. He's not a world beater. And Alabama is going to go into Norman, and unlike Sherrone Moore, they're going to take what's theirs, and they're going to leave that game with a fucking dub, and then they're going to get their ass beat by Indiana.
Oh yes. I can't wait for that. All right. Well, we'll see how it plays out. That's the first game, right? Friday night?
Yeah, we're going to go look at wedding venues that day. Allie's probably not going to want to do that with me anymore after that tirade.
Well, luckily, hopefully you'll only have to do it for one day.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, this has been enlightening.
Shut the fuck up, Tyler.
All right. So you've got Alabama, you've got Ole Miss, you've got Oregon, you've got A&M. I've got the same, except I've got Oklahoma. We will see what happens. We can get one more recording session in before Christmas, if you'd like.
Yeah,
I've got
I'm
22nd, 23rd.
Let's do it.
Open. All right. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope you're having a great holiday. I know the kids are getting out of school this week, so good luck to you all that are parents. We will talk to you next week. Chris, good luck to you on Friday.
You as well.
Peace.